Alright, like, wow, though. Wow, though. Day 55, nifty. Nifty 50, United States. My boyfriend and I took forever trying to remember the actual lyrics to that. Felt really proud the ones we could remember, but 55, saying la, ha, 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 ha. 55, 55, ha, 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 ha. I thought 55 was going to be Friday or Thursday, or is this 54? See, guys, this is how jimble jambled. This is how jumbly wumbly faux bumbly mumbly I am right now, and it's okay. Let's just forget numbers. Let's go on a little vacation from our problems and just never you mind. I wanted to do something. Yeah, I think this is 55 because I wanted to do something really like, ooh, I like double numbers and I like to jive with y'all hip cats. And I was thinking about doing like a dance number, and then it started snowing, and I'm actually feeling quite poopy. Like, actually, just very quite poopy. And not grand. Not great. It's hard for me to muster this. To mustard. Pardon me. Do you have any plain yellow mustard? I have that shirt somewhere. Yeah, I couldn't quite get it on, but I did anyway. I got on this, well, it's not a thong, I guess, but I got the friction on. I got the friction on. I put this titties on for you, and you, and you, and your mother, and your brother, and your sister, too. Yeah, I brought my towel along. Tried to forget this in the living room like 18 times. It's kind of a superfluous prop, though, anyway. Superfluous prop. I was really happy and excited to just get wood in there. It's just wood. Just going down to wood. Would you give me a lift? Actually, don't ever hitchhike. Horrible stories about that. I'm going to write a movie about my dad's first love, hitchhiking nightmare. Don't do it. But back in the day, maybe when there wasn't like every third person was probably wacky. It was maybe only like every fourth or fifth person back then. But still. Anyway, this fits in many ways. I was feeling quite tumbly and very not cool with myself all day. Just like, oh, do you have to sit with us? As in me to myself. But am talking about the H-Wood, the Holly Weirdos. So I thought, put on some boobs, since that's what they want from you is boobs. I also wore this pin I'm very fond of. I think I've pointed it out before, but it bears pointing out again. I'm actually just going to do straight up ad. Unrequested free advertisement. This is it. Kitschy Delish. Kitschy Delish pins. Get you some. Booby. That's hysterical. They're all real funny like that. There's a whipping cream with like a Betty Page dominatrix whip. So good. I mean, it's very, very clever. It's top grade cleverness, honestly. So I brought along my little travel backpack because we're going to take a trip into my past, into the days gone by. And I've got, my dreamy Hollywood kings and queenies. Yeah, they're with me. In front of and behind the scenes. Just kidding, I'm not going to go on. I did have this was very special to me. My very first trip to Hollywood was when I was 10 or 11, I believe. I had this made, and we went to Universal Studios, and like all the other kids in the audience totally hated me because I got picked for every single thing. Like, they did a cool thing where they put you in front of a green screen and put you on a giant hand and made you the scene in Vertigo where he's falling from the hand, like, woo! And I got got to do that, and I got picked to be the like superhero on the green screen that flew, and all these kids on my same tour were like, that bitch. And I was like, I've arrived. I don't even care. I'm gonna get picked for every single thing. Like, back when I was more confident. I need to remember that. Because I was just like, me, it's me. You will pick me. What was the other one? I got picked for the Harry and the Hendersons one. Like, I was just getting picked, bitch. Like, they picked me, and my mom, too, like, made the extra, like, her, you're picking my child. She made the, like, hullabaloo. Oh, it was grand. I felt so VIP. They put me in front of all the green screens. And everywhere we went, you know, the characters on Hollywood Boulevard were talking to me and just being like, it's fine here, kid. Come on down. It didn't quite go that way. You'll see. You'll see. We'll talk about things. I'll tell you tales. But I brought this baby out. Love this one a lot. But oddly enough, because I had kept a bunch of journals here and I was digging through them, like, I thought I was going to do the dance and it was really cold. And I thought I was going to do the dance in front of a green screen because I have this really special thing to bring you all when I do figure out how to choreograph it. Very special. Very stoked about it. But turns out, I don't even know stuff like this. You have to have like a special software to use the green screen that I bought at a discount from my mom's friend, and I'm stoked about, but I don't have the stuff yet. I don't have the connectors and the deflectors and the widgets and bobidgets. I have to buy extra things, obviously, because everything you want to do in life, it's like, oh, you don't have the deluxe package. I see. And then there's always some other freaking thing you have to buy. But I was looking through this. I digress. Forgive me. Looking through this, and I stumbled upon a journal that had the confession of the made-up version of this story I'm bringing to y'all. It was like me talking about how I had totally made up a way PG, palatable version of this story for my parents and how guilty I felt about it. Because you'll hear the thing and we'll dive in and we'll go all the way with it. We'll go all the way into it. But I basically told them that like a creepy guy like saw me on the beach and there wasn't really many people around and he like yelled some kind of nasty things to me like as a nasty guy would, just like bitch and such. And that was my story. That's not what happened. So we'll go into it. Okay? And I've told you bits and pieces of particles of this. But the first time I moved to Hollywood, I was 17 years old, ladies and gentlemen. I taught special ed PE so that I could graduate high school early. That's my backstory. That's how I got out of there. I was so done. From about like 3rd grade, I was done. I was like ready, and this opportunity had come my way. I took an acting class here in Colorado, in the rad zone. And this woman, who, of course, as you know, I shall try to maintain some anonymity for until whereupon the day that I am paid for my book deal. But she was the casting director of 2 hugely, largely popular TV series. And, there's furniture there. Jeez, Self. That's your furniture. Don't you know it's there? Oh, golly, guys, I'm tired. If only you knew all the things I'm dreading about tomorrow. I'm probably going to bring you poetry about it. But there's some shit I'm really dreading tomorrow. But, hey, guys, back to the voyage. Here we go. So, I did this acting class here for this casting director, casting agent, big deal. Oh my god, my hair was just so, and I was fucking ready, and this was a fucking moment. And I crushed it. And it was big. It was like a thing. It was like the movie you see. And I shouldn't even be spilling you all the details because this is going to be in the movie someday. Particles of this. But, she, like, took my parents to dinner and everything and, like, bought them margaritas and was like, I believe in this girl and, like, she can sleep on my couch and I'm gonna, like, do things to make her a thing. And you guys, this was, like, my dreams. This was, like, my very dreams coming true. And so, of course, I just nodded. Like, am I a bobblehead right now? Yes, absolutely. Okay, sure, totally. Whatever you say, this couldn't possibly be too good to be true. Even though, in my, like, hadn't fully accepted that I was an empath, soothsaying, travel into other people's consciousness, witchy, weirdo, I hadn't fully accepted that yet, but I was feeling that, like, ooh, what's this tickle I get? Is it horniness? No, it's intuition that what you're about to do is going to hurt you. And I knew that, guys. Please don't stay up. I fucking knew it from the get-go. Okay? But who says no to that? How can you say no to that? Even if you have the funny little twitches in your tummy going, something's not right here. So, of course, I packed up all my shit. I graduated high school early, packed up my parents' van, and got there. And it was like, okay, just no further no follow-up, no further talking. There was like, internet was just kind of itty-bitty-ish sort of starting to be a thing. And you all know you're in my zone now. You know, if you know me by now, that I don't do that shit. I still don't. You still gotta hold my hand through an email. Truly. Go walk me through it. So I wasn't into all that, but she was kind of hot on that. But we didn't have a computer. No real communication is all I'm trying to say. And I just moved into this woman's living room. I was going to sleep on her couch and had this little antique 1800s steamer trunk that I just think is the swellest thing. It looks like it's straight off the Titanic. And I had my little cutesy actress steamer trunk with my cutest clothes that I could shove into it. And that's what I came with. So, it went very badly. It went very, very badly. And the tale I'm going to tell you in poetry form, because I found this journal entry of me telling the fake version of this tale and was like, oh, I have some really good poems from that day somewhere. So I found a few, and I actually combined them and elaborated on them a bit, and then found a few like LA journal entries I'll try to get to. But this incident that I've breezed over lightly, very vaguely, maybe in the past. I told you all about my heinous agent experience. That was a delight. She got me that agent, and you know, so it goes. But yeah, it's to like fast forward and sew up this portion of it. It was like she ended up accusing me of hacking into her computer files to get her contacts. X-Files, bitch! And as you know, I didn't have a computer until I was in my late 20s. I didn't have an email. Everything in the world that was technical was new to me. I like barely had a cell phone that worked. It was a hardcore flip piece of shit. Like weighed half an ounce. It was my phone. Half an ounce? That's a lot. I'm dumb. I don't know. It was light. It was a very light phone. So, and the whole reason I was there, the whole reason I loaded my very lower middle income ass up into a van to get to Hollywood was because she was like, kid, I got you. And then she was like, you're hacking into my computer files. You're stealing my contacts. I was like, I came here for you to get me contacts. I don't know what you're saying. I'm just sleeping on the couch, being pretty scared every night because there's really scary noises in Santa Monica. And she did jack shit for me. She was constantly telling me she was going to get me on the set of this big TV show she was on and get me in front of people. And it was just like, she was mean to me and very, I think, bipolar and just very cruel all the time. And within a few weeks, there was issues. There was the landlord, the building manager there was on oxygen, and very scary, very terrifying person. He moved very slowly, and of course, because the oxygen tank, he would wear boxers essentially all the time and scoot along and stare very hard at you. And he complained to her that I was listening to my music too loud one day. This man, the building manager, lived 2 doors down from us and watched Girls Gone Wild incessantly. Like, it was his job at like the fullest blast possible, and complained about me and my, like, I think it was like listening to some really mellow Bob Marley or something, and he like told this woman that it was really disruptive, and he would be like, 4 a.m. Girls Gone Wild. I hate that shit. I mean, Boy, don't even get me started on that. I mean, I've always been like, flash them if you got them while you got them, flash them. But not in that fucking degrading, misogynistic horror way. That's the thing, is like, we could be in this flashy, badass, just ourselves in silk robes and nothing else world if dudes didn't have to be such hollow dicks about it. I'm serious. That's what Hollywood all is. Like, you feel that, like, almost we could be on the edge, on the verge of some bohemian something, but then it always has to end up being, like, abusive and weird. So anyway, it was a lot of that. It was a lot of just me fucking minding my own business and people, like, wanting to pick on me. I offered to help the other neighbor who had, like, 6 cats, and I just was, like, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for something important to happen with this woman every single day, and being, like, fresh out of high school. And I helped this woman with some errands, and the woman next door was insane. Like 6 cats, and she was saying she had a daughter, and there was different frames of girls I recognized from like 17 magazines as being models, and there were several of them that were different models that she was like, that's my daughter, and they were different models that I recognized from fucking 17 magazine. And she kept calling them by the same name, and I was like, this is so scary. These are like real crazy people. So anyway, everything went really bad. She accused me. She was weird. So it was like my dad was camping in a campground for weeks to make sure that I was okay. And one day it all just like blew up, and I had almost been there for a month, and he had already like turned around and gone back to Colorado, and he had to come back and get me. And I'm condensing so much of a crazy story, but I think maybe I glossed over part of this too, but I ended up camping in a van with my dad for 5 weeks in the blazing horror movie hot heat. Because I refused, and like this woman I stayed with tried to be cordial, like it was just because the building manager and it's fine and I could still try to help you with auditions, and she was so mean to me, and I was like, oh, so now that I'm leaving and you like said you were going to help me and you never did, and I'm in a fucking van with my dad, now you want to help me? I was so confused. It was just that yank fest of the brain. And it was so bad. Oh my god, it was so bad. And I was so ready to leave, and I got an audition. And I got an audition, and I curled my hair in the crusty, nasty, like Malibu Beach State Park bathroom, outhousey type thing. No offense, but it was whoever was taking care of it at that time. It was really bad and gross, and I like curled my hair in there with like hot rollers, and got all ready and got all schmoomshy and schmoomshed these up here, and oh man, I was fucking ready. And I had been given like several sides. Oh my god, several sides. And I go in there and just like, can you just read page 7? All we want is page 7. And they were so dead inside, so dead. And I'd been, you guys, like 100+ degree heat in a van, Malibu Creek State Park, waiting for this moment. Nope, that's it? You just want page 7? Okay. So my line was, the copies you ordered are ready. That's what I waited all that time for. And it was horrible. And I cried right there and then on the spot, because it was like, you're not going to give me this part, and none of this matters, and this is insane, and you just put me through this, and everyone just put me through this. And that was just a taste, you guys. That was just a little taste, you know? So this was week 1 of that experience. This was actually only, I think, like, maybe day 3? I think it was only, like, day 3. Maybe it was, like, day 2. It was very immediate in my journey that my dad was like, okay, goodbye, I'm going to be staying here, and you know where to find me. And he was, like, there in case I needed him. But I was, like, big girl pants, like, I'm gonna be living in Hollywood right now. Are you joking? And then it was just like challenging, punishing, ass smacking pretty much the entire time. But you know, lessons learned and poetry gained, and right, all of that. So here we go. I'm gonna dive into it. The tale goes that minor other snippets. So the journey started. There was this great place called Polly's. If you remember it, that's cool. Because if you know, you like know. Never will there ever, 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 ever be a waffle better than Polly's, okay? Never. And I met Matt Stone there, and he has been on my top 10 hall pass list my entire life. Love Matt Stone. Love him. In love. And we had like a moment, and he signed my menu, and he was with his girlfriend, but it didn't matter because he made me feel special. And I was like, Colorado dog, and I've seen Cannibal the Musical Dog, and like, Matt Stone. And he was having the same Polly's waffle, and it was just like this fucking experience. And so I had started my adventure going and getting myself a little pastry at Polly's, and I was feeling very independent. Like, I am going to make it in Hollywood, okay? And I was like feeling good in my little blonde cuteness, and I had pigtail braids. As actually, weirdly and psychologically, oddly enough, I often have pigtail braids when something sort of oppressively dark and bad happens. So maybe, I guess you just shouldn't do innocent hairdos or something. I don't know what the point is. There's my hair tutorial for the day. If you don't want to get, like, targeted by creepwads, don't do innocent-looking hairdos. But I had, like, the cutest overalls and the cutest little, like, floral top and these very fashionable shoes, which would endanger my life, you'll come to hear in the poem. Very floppy, though, and flumpy, and little flowers to match the flowers, and I had the perfect matching sunglasses, and this little rainbow backpack, and my poetry, and yeah, I went to write this poem, which I'm gonna read to you as quickly as I can, because this was kind of how I started on the mystery of, like, oh, I should tell the whole story of this, because that's pretty crazy, actually, that I captured this. You with me? We're in a good frame here. It's kind of weird. But, yeah. So I had started composing, and this is a picture of me later, the next time I would live. I just like the color of it. But it just was interesting because I found the pictures, and this is the exact spot, basically, where it happened, in Santa Monica. But that was the second time I lived in the weird woods with my best friend. Later when I was 18. Oh, so much later. I had grown so much as a person, but I was 18 then. How can you see me better? Maybe I'll do like this, even though this lip bench will tip over if you put your full weight on it, so I'll just have to sit like a right proper lady. I have to sit like a very proper lady. But yeah, 18 and 17 with my best friend, that was some crazy gnarly shit as well, and I'll maybe try to dig out some weird poetry about that. But this time I was alone. I got my little goodie at Polly's, my little snackadoo, and I got high, and then I got high, and then I got high, and then I got high. Oh my god, why can I not find the prop? You guys, I'm upset. Hold please. Hold please. I also brought these, but they're quite dirty on the inside, so I wasn't gonna go all the way for you. Sorry. Oh, man. Son of a flunkin', chunkin', munkin'. Well, okay, that's annoying. Nope, I did bring it. You guys, I'm a genius. So this was funny to me because a friend from acting school ended up with this pouch from a party and ended up with it for like 9 years or something. And then I just got it back from him pretty recently. And it just says stuff. And it's like my teenage weed bag that I would have my little... Like, I mean, and it wasn't that hardcore, guys. This is how hardcore I was. Whoa, I'm so hardcore, my little one hitter. But it's not fun. It just goes bing. That's one more time. Bing. That's fun. And yeah, I just have kept it forever, and it's real smelly. But it's funny because it's very facetious and very like, oh, jeez, how cheeky. Because I think you should have more weed in your pouch than makeup. But all over the bag it says, like, never can have too many cosmetic bags. No lip liner's the wrong lip liner. And it's just like, you know, makeup-y lady stuff like that. Some days I feel different and I need to express that side of me. If you don't believe it, go all out and buy a few new cosmetic bags which express all your sides to see for yourself. So that's obviously where the MJ went. Oh, just a little more show and tellies. This was also my best friend and I at that age when we went to Disneyland, and there was no internet, really. I mean, poor people didn't have internet. We didn't have internet. And they had closed, like, almost every ride at Disneyland. This is not a representative photo because we were basically sobbing the entire day. But this says, we're total fucking badasses. And this says, gangster rap is where it's at. For sure, Grandmaster Mabel. For sure. Because that's just my best friend and I. There, just like that. Get parched out here on the beach. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so got a little stoned under the boardwalk by myself, and I felt really deep and really grown up, so deep and grown, and I started scribbling this very frantic, I know it was a song. I know at the time I made this as a song for my best friend, and I have no idea how the tune of it goes, but I know in my, like, stony kind of 17-year-oldness that it was like, oh, that's really good. Like, this is a hit. And so I don't remember how it goes, but I just thought it was interesting that when I was reading to y'all my high school slivers of self, I came across this one and was like, oh, that's about that time. And then today led me on the goose chase, so I just thought it was the story to tell today. So this is the crazy, kind of doesn't make sense, kind of all over the place. The sentiment is there in my heart, but it's a little weird. But I'll read it quickly. This is that poem that I was writing for my best friend right before this thing happened. So I'll just seamlessly go into it because it's weird. The seamless transition is built right into the poem for me. So it goes, let me guess. No, right? The answer is no. I'm afraid. I'm so scared. We won't get out of here. I might miss. You might out. Then we'd miss out. In fact, we'd just lose. We'd just unhook control and refuse to let them take a toll on us. Just unhook and decide that this tide is too strong. And now inside we both know that they're after us. We might run, they might win, but it's time to begin, girl. You don't know, you don't know, you don't know is the answer we find. No, it's still no. And the glow fades from all the premieres, and the fear so clear. We might have to be cut from this dear, but we will see, we will see. Cue the choppy sea float, and we drown, never found. They won't want both us two of us, 2 times. I won't die now. That's weirdly woven in. I won't die now. I know you don't know what we know, what we are capable of. I used to know every beat of your heart, but you start to pull away, and you say, maybe stay a little longer, a little stronger. They get you to forget, because we know what they want to know is their answer to everything. It's so fucking fun. It's so fun. It's so we. It's so, you know, when I said, when I was 7, you 6, when that chocolate mix we made, it exploded, and that tree, you climbed to the top, and that time that we laughed, that was every time, 'cause we knew what we knew. In the boat game we knew, riding our pretend train, we knew, flying without a plane, we knew. I love deeply, we knew. You love deeply, we just knew. Can I still please be you? Can I be you? And you can say how we make it through. Please, can we make it through? Go up and go up, it's still there for you. I haven't seen that smile in a while. Oh my god, this is so, like, crazy stonerness. Yes, and we know our madness. You don't know by now that our sadness is there, trapped there where we were. Are we? No, we're not gone. Where are we? Not gone. And I know, we've been here before. Open that, open that, open that. Soar. It's still sore. Let's soar. I implore you before we're too far away. Let's go. Let's go. City lights are fading. I'm tracing all our secrets on a pretend TV show. Let's watch some TV. Girl, let's kill MTV. Girl, let's go. 'Cause I know you see. Your blue eyes see. 'Cause we want to hear the same song twice. 'Cause it's so, so nice. Ain't nothing wrong and oh sorry I almost forgot the words. 'Cause there ain't nothing wrong and there ain't nothing right. But girl, I sit and still lie awake all night. Ooh, let's go. And so that was pretty, I mean, come on guys, I was 17 and I was stoned. But that's not the point. I was writing just stream of consciousness, basically saying I want my best friend and I to believe in ourselves and not give up and not let people take from us what we believe in ourselves. And then I wrote in parentheses, then a homeless man on a bike with a basket of oranges tried to kill me. Which happened, which is where the better writing, my writing improved when I wrote about the incident. I think it took me probably 2 years to actually write some of this out, and then I actually added to some of it today. But it took me a while, to admit kind of how bad it was what happened to me, and it's in poetry form, so you'll probably get the whole story, but I'll tell you if I left some juicy bits out of it. But here we go. So this is the poem that was like lead up to the incident that happened poem, and here's the official poem, just so we're on the, you're in the episode. This is mark it. Wish I had my marker. I should have brought that. That was stupid. I have the freaking clapper. Dang it. Scene 20, take 2, roll B. Whatever. I used to know how to do clapper. But I've got accoutrements. It's okay. I've got the wants and desires of Hollywood all around me. So yeah, this is a conglomeration of all those feelings mixed with various found to-do lists. Some of this poetry is actually just dead serious. You got to improve yourself and be everything that they want you to be, kind of like to-do lists that I came across and stuck in here. So here we go. This one is called Peddlin' 2-Bit Pie. And why not trust a guy just because he rides with beautiful oranges? Think carefully about what time means to you. Take control of your time. Own him. Get to know him. Become intimate with him till you're brimming with his wisdom. And know that he does not own you. There's nothing but nothing to atone to or for, untoward on all accounts. Get in the ring with all the perverts who want to amount to everything. Amazing all the boulders you have to swerve to avoid hitting. I'm gritting my teeth just to avoid the clustered herds. Just sit by the candlelight and write to those who need to read your words. Use a real pen, use your hands, use a quill, use ink. Think for yourself, pull out the typewriter. Be the high wire walker you always wanted to be. Explore the 7 seas if it gets you even a little bit closer to who you're more than certain you could be. Enough of this ennui, enough of this hide or flee every time the going just gets tougher. Like one of those puffer fish when it gets real scared or angry. Always wanting to be so zen, but heck, nobody trained me. Who could blame me for being a bit peckish? I put the secret key on a necklace and some madman ripped it off forcefully. That girl I was then, she jumped off the pier thinking she'd land softly, but that only got him off the scent for a moment. What is that chaos component that puts you on the beach at the exact perfect time for a man more than half out of his mind to be the only other fucker in sight? To be right there and right then to threaten you with a giant knife running for your life when at first you thought maybe he was nice because he had a basket of oranges on his bike? Think whatever you like, little red. The wolf is always going to come for your head first. like jumping into a pool with no water. She instantly knew why her mother was so concerned for her daughter. In her almost wasn't escape, she managed to take one other wrong turn along what became a terrifying stretch of beach. As soon as the sun set, the smell of piss and booze and rot and have-nots and bleach. She yelled for help, beseeching anyone near, now barefoot after she kicked off her shoes, while she stalled him a little, seeing in his eyes that he was going to go right for her, and having the very sure sense that she would run much better, or perhaps be able to hop a fence without cumbersome fashion shoes, which she now regretted even owning. He must have had a honing device for nice, sweet girls, fresh-faced and innocent, who had just entered the angel/secret devil city. Flashes of thoughts like it would be a pity for her to not land even one audition before they found her corpse in the next morning's sun. And no one runs without shoes in Hollywood unless it's serious. At the same time, she felt a little excited in a delirious way. For once, something was happening to her that was worth talking about in an excitable and dramatic way. Something certainly worthy of its own scene if she managed to escape or anyone heard her scream. She was none too keen on that outcome, so she continued to fumble past dumpsters, feel the entire universe in utter opposition to her joy and pleasure, with full flexing resistance. As racing cars full of big shots stuck in one spot on the freeway rumbled in the distance. She didn't want Hollywood to be one big missed chance, but would she regret it all because of one unforeseen circumstance? The whole big beautiful dream had summoned her purring. May I have this dance? There was no way it would cruelly make it her last, though. At least she didn't think so. But one never knows the whims of the gods, frivolously tossing fates and mistakes and woes. Only 10 minutes before, she'd been digging her toes in the sand, playfully writing scribbled, sprawling pages, barely being able to see as the sun set, of poetry, so hopefully scrolling. This brilliant orange has been waiting for me, said she. But when she found herself lost and spun around, she heard only the sounds of his squeaky bike tire. He was a very good liar and came across as kind and bohemian. She recognized his accent as Slovakian. He was impressed and started right with his cat and mouse dirty louse game. He showed her the bridge, then asked straight away with a crooked mouth what she was willing to give to show how grateful she was about it. No doubt, he plotted this before he spotted her. Good thing she was so sure she'd seen this in a movie before. The ocean even roared a warning. Her hand was performing an escape trick as she distracted this slick prick with talk of naivete to keep his eyes away from her. As her hand in her pocket fumbled, she made her very old Nokia phone ring. Then she pretended to answer a call that was made up. "Hey, honey," she cooed to her pretend boyfriend. "Yes, I'll be right there. I know you were coming to pick me up at the bridge. I got turned around and this nice man found me," she said, still trying to sell the idea that she had no clue what the man was about to do, even though she knew quite deeply. Discreetly, as she spoke to her made-up on-the-spot sweetheart, she started to very slowly scoot her shoes off. She knew in just a few moments, when she was running from this man with murder in his eyes, the shoes would only slow her down. And who wants to die when they've finally just arrived in the city they've always dreamed of? Sure enough, the second she held the phone down to say, "It's my boyfriend, thanks for helping," and turned to walk away, that psycho with fire in his eyes began his intended chase. I won't repeat the most base and horrid of things he shouted at her as he hunted her like prey, but just one such threat was, "I'll cut you so good they won't recognize your face." That's just a little taste of the hate that poured from him. She thought of every option to get out of this and wondered, fuck, might I have to swim for it? And if that wasn't enough grit and terror for one film frame, The next bit got even more insane. She finally couldn't see him for a moment, so she refrained from screaming, but then she caught the gleaming of his bicycle basket off a public restroom light. Still unfathomable as it is LA, there was not one other human in sight. That was until she booked it right around the corner of the putrid restroom and ran right into the chest of a man she'd refer to in her later retelling of the story as Father Time's own father, Father Death. He must have been 100. The rattle of his bony ribs was like a thunderclap. She was surprised he didn't snap in half. Instead, he just attacked her too with bellowing, scary threats. Even after she had long ran past him, he shouted with rage into the dark, inky evening blue. She kept running until electric wires ran through all of her muscles. She was closer now and could hear the close-by bustle of Santa Monica Boulevard. She was permanently scarred from ever trusting this city again, but she was alive. And she could taste the end of this nightmare. Suddenly there was a bridge that had somehow vanished. There was the bridge that had somehow vanished from her point of reference. She could still feel her pursuer's chilly presence. She ran with everything in her up the winding metal spiral stairs. The evil man didn't want to leave his bike. He fought the decision and almost kept going after her, but decided he'd better protect his wheels. And instead, like a rabid dog biting at her heels, he yelled to her that he would find her and make her pay. Just as a sports car peeled out in front of her. It was aggressive and rude, but it meant other humans were in sight. But just as she sighed with a relief that her trauma was over for the night, the same sports car brats drove right past her. Fucking bastards and skanks. Thanks a lot, LA. They drove slow as this poor girl just barely escaped from a would-be murderer and hobbling on raw feet, and in their lipstick red convertible, jock male model wannabe in the driver's seat, chucked a half-full Coke can at this girl, fresh-faced first week in LA, who almost just had her life and or her innocence stripped away, and pelted her straight in the head. No warning, no say in the matter. Her pumped up dream was essentially in tatters, and it's hard to believe, even saying it to this day, but they screamed bitch at her as they sped away. She made it to the couch that she was sleeping on that night and thought about the price people are willing to pay. The horrible sacrifice you lay on the offering slab just to grab a little sliver or feel the light of one beam of that hot, high-risk commodity called the Hollywood dream. Green around the edges, they called it. Better smile real sweet to get 'em reaching for their wallets. There wasn't a set protocol back then. When I was fending for my scrawny self, no set of standards or Me Too hashtags to check the power of those with immense wealth. Every power player interaction felt worse and worse for my health. Now I find the names of those agents and so-and-sos and highfalutin, high and mighty fucks hidden on scraps of paper on my shelf. Now I represent my damn self and protect my scripts yet to be given life and songs unsung. I tell myself now that me from back then to always use and value wisely your tongue and explore others. Expand your mind like you need to find kindling in there for fire that keeps you alive. Be the queen these thoughts are a giant hive to. Menaces will always try to crush you, but you cannot stop. These ideas, these dreams aplenty are life-giving crops. Harvest them, grow, keep growing. Even if 10 rows are prolific, 10 rows will be a flop. So mop up your tears and plant some more, dear. Steer clear of fire-eyed soul suckers and motherfuckers with slick clicking briefcases. Don't waste an ounce of your brilliance on those who'd use your idea only to go erase your name. Make sure you know what you wouldn't do for fame and get that boundary in your head. Write down a full garbage bag of little scribbled encouragements and then spread them around the house. Douse yourself with tenderness and hope and become a dreamer at that level of professional. Strike up congressionals and big well-to-do art thingies. Don't get swindled by the blingy blingy. Be different now as you were then and fucking own it. Never a dull moment. Shine that ideal even if you haven't been shown it. Rezone the place until it adapts to your vision. Believe in links and destiny magnets and forget about division. Make big decisions and silly companies. Never appease the varying degrees of sleaze bags. Ever. Even when you're dragging ass, inspire every thought to be vital and necessary. It doesn't have to be unattainable and messy. Let it be a blessing. Every moment of every day must be a conscious effort in the pursuit of truth, even though life will never be through testing you. Every moment you attempt to scoot to fulfillment, fulfill it. Instill the drive wherever it will fit. Make your daily writings a means to the mens, with an M, mens. This lends itself to quite a script. Flip it if it doesn't fit. Shake it enough it becomes whipped cream. The overarching theme of your practicum should be self-heightening and affecting for real change. Now it's so strange to me I actually nodded along to that. On my to-do list way back. Go to Panpipes, a magic store. Explore superpowers. Take meditation showers. Make opportunities to shift the energy. Don't promote yourself. Promote your core. Coink-a-think. Coink-a-think. 300 sit-ups a day. Cha! Go to the beach. Eek! Go to the beach. Yes, I guess I still wanted to go after all this. Make biceps for once. Oh yeah, I did that. Make biceps for once. Set up days for thematic self-improvement. What the fuck is thematic self-improvement? More movement of every kind. Grrr, feel stronger. Then after that list, which is even more embarrassing and much longer, was acting school advice and assertions from teachers with shiny headshots who seemed so certain if you want a big favor, ask for a little one. Make it shower perfect. Don't make a meal of it. Hey, just so you know, it doesn't cost them anything to say no. Make them believe that they must say yes. Then I penned pages and pages and pages of who in that crazy city might be an ally and how to get an agent and books about getting an agent. And several more pages later I wrote, I'm starting to believe more and more that everyone is lying to me in one way or another, and it's smothering my light. But at least I know it now, right? And right I was. I shoved past that revelation and did more notes on who could get me there. Then in a sort of hysterical despair, I wrote in big, hard-to-read letters, do or die duality. This is where the formula comes, sin, S-I-N, to play. Sin to play. Instead of comes into play, comes sin to play. Ants plus angels. Swells of inadequacy hit me from that one tiny page. Then the next page turn is more shit I should probably burn about my resume being due and needing a love song memorized. But would they hear it? Would they look in my eyes? Likely not. I shouldn't have been so surprised. More and more pages about where you get your business cards printed and where you get the best and glossiest headshots. Gosh, as the money gets minted, we find new ways to perform people tricks to earn a shot at some. What fun. I thumb more pages and find an Elliott Smith lyric. The mayor's name is Fear. Yes, dear, you're not wrong. Then a line, I don't know if I wrote it or if it's still part of that same song. Isolation pushes you till every muscle aches. down the only road it ever takes. Shit, I still can't shake that feeling. Even as I schmoozed in big mansions with big ceilings, it crushed down on me and left me reeling. But none of their teeth clamped down on my arteries. Not with their overpromises or flashy wheeling and dealing. I remember them pretending they weren't stealing ideas straight from our casual conversations. Good thing I stopped being patient with their carnival-style ball and cup scams. They liked to ask about all my big plans so they could scoop them up into their sneaky, sticky hands. I wrote down many of their phone numbers. A funny little slip of paper among them fell out and said simply, 2-bit pie. Yes, that's what they were charging sky-high prices, trying to sell me on. But I escaped it all. Without ever allowing myself to become a pawn. Bravo me. Please keep on keeping right on. Come on, read this again if you have to. You are brave. You are strong. That's some pretty powerfully intense shit, don't you think? I think so. I think little me went through a lot there. And as I said, I sort of repressed it in many ways and gave it a whole other glossy version of the story. And gosh, it was fucking crazy. So yeah, that's basically how it went down. I was writing my poetry. The sun set. I looked up. Every single human being was gone. This guy appeared. He was like, "Are you lost?" And I knew his accent was Slovakian because I had dated this weird Slovakian guy who looked exactly like Legolas from Lord of the Rings, and I only ever called him Legolas, and he sucked real bad, but I recognized Slovakian, and he was so impressed that I knew Slovakian, and he showed me where the bridge was, and then was like, "So what are you gonna do for me?" And I was like, "I'm not doing the accent right. I would have to listen to it, and then I could do it for you." But he was like, "What are you gonna do for me?" And I was like, yeah, small talk, small talk, small talk. Made my Nokia brick phone go bleedaloop, bleedaloop. Hey, honey, I'm just really, thank you so much for the directions. I gotta. And then I saw in his eyes, and I had been slowly, so he wouldn't notice, kicking my very cute, fashionable shoes off, because I know they were gonna keep me from running properly. And that was my, like, deep witchy instinct I didn't quite know about, but I'm really glad I had. Telling me, "You're gonna have to run here in 5 seconds, bitch." And boy, did I ever. And he said the most horrific things to me. Horrible. I don't even want to tell you here because they're really nightmarish. Like, super nightmarish. Like, I could write for one of those, like, murder porn shows everyone seems so obsessed with, which I totally hate. Like, why do we need more of that? Why do we need so much freaking murder in our Netflix queues, people? What's going on with us that we need all that? But I sure could write about it because, yeah, he said some things that convinced me I could have easily died that night. And he, so that's when he started chasing me. He had a basket of oranges, which is why I, in the story, was like, maybe this guy is cool. And he was clearly homeless, but kind of cute. You know what I mean? Kind of cute homeless. Like, okay, he's kind of cute, and he has a basket of very fresh-looking oranges, so maybe he's a decent person. And then you think to yourself, like, where does a correlation like that even come from? Like, where are you getting that? What is that, your, like, psychology 101 book telling you if someone has nice-looking oranges, they might be not a psycho? Because I knew, like, my gut was like, oh, this guy's gonna fuck with you for sure. This is, like, your second or third day here. And it's gonna be bad. And so I ran for my life, and then I smacked into, grandfather death, and he literally, like, white beard down to his belly, so just face was a skull, just terrifying, like, straight up like Jack Skellington when he falls into the graveyard, those shredded clothes. And he was screaming at me, and then I found my way, and homeboy didn't want to ditch his bike, which he had a huge butcher knife in the orange basket, which he showed to me right before I ran for my life. Then I finally got to the bridge and started going up a whole bunch of flights of stairs with an adrenaline I don't think I've ever had again or before that. And was like, pew, like the Flash, just fucking going up. And he just continued to scream threats and awful, heinous little fare thee wells to me as I got away. And then, yeah, true story. red convertible full of hot youngsters trying to make it in the city as well, or probably they already had made it, because it seems like total assholes like that always do. And they chucked a Coke can and pelted me in the head with it. So it was one of the more insane experiences of my life. And then I just went home to my, like, casting director lady, who was always already being quite cold and weird to me, just immediately, like, as soon as my parents left, basically, kind of cold. And I just didn't tell her anything, just told her I kind of had a stressful situation, again, where a homeless guy yelled at me a little. Not that there was, like, a butcher knife involved and other things like that. We're really long on this one, you guys. There's, like, more shit I want to share with you. There's always more shit I want to share. I'm only going to do this one other one from LA because I really liked it, and then I guess we'll just have to combine the other ones into some other portion, because there are certainly more stories about LA, but this one just kind of fits the, like, this was the same kind of angst that went into this one. So I called it Just Past the Porn Shop. Oh, you know the one. Another 3 X's, another fucking Lexus, another asshole who wants my spot, wants what I've got. Got any change? The scenery's strange and the people much stranger, and I'm a stranger here. Don't show fear, don't smile, lose some weight. Wait at the club to get on the list. Twist my arm a little and you could get my deepest dreams. Catch me in your high beams and swerve just to hit me. Split me open and pick through the trash. A poor man's cash down the drain of this unclean shark tank. Thank your lucky stars for all the great celebrities keeping the streets populated. You're hot or you're hated. So deal with it, little girl. That's just how I felt at that point. It was really brutal for me. I was such a little teeny bopper, cutie bo bop with the cutest little cheeks back then. But I was really suffering some pretty terrible pre-Me Too treatment. And being told, well, like, this is what people do, and this is what you have to do, and this is just the way it is, and just and just. And obviously, I know, looking back, like, somebody needed to help this poor girl. She was up against a lot. But I helped myself. I learned. I wrote crazy, expressive, winding poetry about it. So, gosh, I'm hot now, you guys. Oh my goodness. I'm so... What? Come on. It worked downstairs. There we go. Oh my goodness. Oh, oh, do you want to cast me yet? Bet you do. Bet you're going to put me in your video immediately. That's the funny thing, though, guys, is I have to poke fun because it was so painful, but obviously I still want it. Like, I still want it. Come on. I still want it. I still want it. I still got it. It's been 10 years, but give me another shot. So, you know, I'm gonna send you out with some of this because it only seems right. Probably my favorite record. And it's red. Is it on the right speed? Yes. So you know. In the wood. I'm liking this, guys. I'm not even mad about this send out at all. Man, this makes me look like a really cool video girl dancer in this. Don't worry, they're shorts. just having too much fun with you. Join me again tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a real weird day. I don't know how to process it all, but I'm probably just going to bring you some honesty like I always do. And there was a really crazy story from my past. So, sweet dreams. Don't think about scary guys with oranges and knives. Just think about this. And how you can have a luau too. You can have your very own luau whenever you want. You don't have to go out endangering people. You can just put on some sweet tunes. Thanks for being part of my wild, weird wonders and whatsits. Love ya. You know it. You know it's true.